Hello and welcome. Today we've got Randy Alexander and Heather Holmes, and today we are going to be discussing the contamination of fruit and vegetables and also the solution. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to our Telegram channels and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, myself and the guests can choose their words wisely due to the insane censorship that's happening right now. Randy and Heather, thank you for joining me both. How are you and what have you been up to? We'll go with Heather first.
Oh, thank you, Nicholas. Just doing our best job to make sure that we keep people healthy. And that is very important. And that we're educating people as to what's going on and hopefully providing the solutions that they need. So that's it.
Absolutely. And Randy, over to you. How are you?
I'm doing good, Nick. Lately, I've been, contemplating all of the things that you've been hearing and reading about what's in our water and then also what's in our food. And this weekend, quite frankly, I built a garden. And I've wanted one for a long time. Of course, I'm retired now, so I got some time to play around. So I'm planting a lot of organic vegetables, and because I'm real concerned about what it is that we're eating and consuming. And I've done some research, and some of the things like chlorine. Chlorine is a really bad carcinogenic. They use it, you in your swimming pool, use it in the water, and then people like, what are we consuming? And, of course, Heather, I've met Heather a couple of years ago, and she is just absolutely preeminent in understanding the contamination both of our biodome, our household. She's helped so much with me with the cleaning agents and stuff that are non-cancerous. With me with having cancer, I'm very concerned about what I'm drinking, what I'm, everything that I'm consuming. And so I said, Heather, you got to come back on here because we got some problems. And you go, well, I've been working on some things. And I says, well, we need to talk to Nick and tell everybody, because where you're getting this information, you're probably not going to see anywhere else.
Absolutely. Now, I want to make this very simple for people who are watching this for the first time. Now, everybody knows there's fluoride in our waters, which is very bad for us. It causes illnesses, and it shrinks the pineal gland, which is responsible of our intuition. But as we know, this is much bigger and much wider, and it's infiltrated everywhere. Like you said, Heather and Randy, in our fruits and vegetables and everything. And this is all to create problems with our immune systems and our healths, to create more customers for big pharma. And it all boils down to money and control and power. And also detaching us from our spirits, which is our intuition, shrinking the pineal gland. So Heather, why don't you tell us, if you could explain to us, where do we exactly begin with the contamination and fruits and vegetables? If you could educate us, and
Sure.
and then we can go into the solution, please.
I would love to do that. So when we think about our fruits and vegetables, the first thing that comes to mind for me is all of the hands that touched it before it even got to the store and then in the store. So I think about that, but it is a much bigger picture from the standpoint that from the minute that it goes from the farm to the table, that route that it takes is a contaminated route most of the time. And what I mean by that is even starting from the fertilizer that's used, that goes into the soil, and it's labeled organic, but it's basically sewage. Like it is one of the main fertilizers that's going into our food. I don't know about you, but that sounds really disgusting. I didn't really want to think about it, but in doing the research, we know that, to your point, the water systems, the water that's used, the soil, it's the animals, the livestock excreting into the soil with the antibiotics that they take and contaminating the soil. Even organic farms, you don't know what's in that soil. So growing your own, as you are, Randy, is a wonderful solution, but we can't all do that. So it's not feasible for a lot of people, especially if you're in the city or whatever. But there are several things across the continuum of that food. So we start there, and then we move to the trucks that are transporting. We look at how it's stored in the grocery store. You can have coolers that are contaminated, and we know for sure that water lines get contaminated. And if they're not cleaned out properly, the pathogens can go into the food. The other thing that can happen is the water that is used, let's say, for our salads and so forth. There is chlorine that's used to clean them. Okay. Strawberries soak up the chlorine, right, Randy? Mm-hmm. We know this.
Very scary.
It is really scary, but chlorine is the least of our worries, because in studies that were done, and one in particular, and they all seem to kind of say the same thing in this arena, but there are two major contaminants, and they are superbugs, E. coli and Salmonella. And when they did these tests, what they found is that the Salmonella was able to grow rapidly. And the mechanism that allows these things to survive and multiply at rapid rates and then contaminate other things, because the contamination moves from place to place, is biofilm. And we'll talk about that in a second. But going back to fertilizers, the leafy vegetables that grow on the ground are getting all of that contamination from the fertilizers and the chemicals on them. Okay. Apples were actually found to soak up the contaminants as well. So there is no fruit or vegetable that is immune from the process that of the continuum that the fruit and vegetables go through. And I actually don't even talk about meat right now, but that's a whole other subject, because there's contamination there as well. And we know. So the amount of foodborne illnesses has increased exponentially over the years. So as I was looking at these studies dating back to 96, it was kind of crazy. And even insects like flies can contaminate the food and spread pathogens from plant to plant. That's a scary thought, right? So the FDA says that all fruits and vegetables need to be washed, but nobody's telling us really what we should be washing in. But the studies said clearly that the best solution would be to use a microbial agent that is natural, like in nature. They were even looking at sequencing bacteria so that they could use it to clean and do something with it. So that's really where we come in. But it is a really important thing to think about what happens when you bring that fruit home, because not only could there be pathogens on it, but you can bring those pathogens into your home as well. And so that's why I always speak in the context of, you have to think about things as a whole. What happens when I go here or there? And what am I consuming? What's in my home? And what do I do to keep my immune system strong? And when we're consuming things that are fertilized with contaminants and we're drinking water that is contaminated, and we're eating fruits and vegetables that are contaminated. It's like, oh my God, your body can only take so much, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to really think about this. I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to let you ask questions and whatever, because I can see like the wheels turning in your head. So,
oh no, I wanted to go into chemtrails, because I know in America,
Yes.
especially, there are
Yes.
so many chemtrails, and it's affecting the soil possibly, and our crops and the farmers. Can you tell us that how that contributes to contamination of our farms?
it's all of it, Nick, because first of all, we don't know what they're dropping on us, right? I looked up
Not good. I can tell you that right now.
Well,
It's
yeah,
bad.
no kidding. No kidding. So whatever they're dropping is definitely going on all of the plants, the lettuce, the fruits, the vegetables. It's all coming down, and we're breathing it in as well. So I imagine that what they're dropping has such nanoparticles that they're able to really get it to stick and get us to breathe it in. So I looked up in the sky the other day. There were no less than 10 chemtrails over my head. And so surely that is causing issues, but it's causing other issues like breathing issues, right? It's causing autoimmune issues. And so now we have to add the chemicals from the sky, the chemicals from the soil, because it's definitely absorbing there. And then we have to think about what goes in our mouths and what we're consuming there. I did find it interesting, though, that in the context of what we're doing with our fruits and vegetables, the larger, this is what the studies say, the chains of stores have a greater chance of contamination than the local smaller store, because they're bringing in large numbers and they're going into coolers, et cetera. I was at the grocery store, and you probably saw this too, and I don't think you saw it in the UK, but all of the shelves were empty for all of the bagged lettuce. There was not one bag available. And the other culprit besides E. coli and Salmonella is Listeria. Listeria lives in water. It loves water. And so that's a huge contaminant of water. And I'm going to tell you right now, when these contaminants like E. coli, Salmonella, Listeria get into the biofilm, they are impervious to anything that you can use to disinfect it, clean it. The fruits and veggie washes that you see in the grocery store, they do nothing. As far as I'm concerned, they're equivalent of water. And we know in a study that we did from a top cleaning lab that water only gets rid of 40% of the contaminants. If we know 80%, there's an 80% increase with this biofilm, then we're not getting rid of at least 40% of it, right?
But
so
Heather, let me ask you make a point here. If it gets rid of water gets rid of 40% of the contaminants, but the water is so contaminated, so all we're just doing triple and quadruple of more toxins. And then also, something brought to mind. You go to a grocery store, you buy fruits and vegetables. They don't last like they seem to used to when I was younger. Especially strawberries and berries and blueberries and stuff, they don't last. And
True.
Do you think that has something to do with it? I would say that.
I do. I think it's the way that they are cleaning them or not cleaning them, as the case may be. The cut fruit in the grocery store has higher contamination than the fruit that you buy, like strawberries in the plastic, which is, I don't know. I'm the silly person that comes home and like washes off any fruit or vegetable I get, because I know in my mind what's going on with it. And really, I was looking for the research to back up my thought process on this, just knowing what I do about biofilm and contamination, because I absolutely presumed, as it is correct, that biofilm is a major contributor to the contamination of our fruits and vegetables. So, Nick, do you think it would be beneficial for me to just kind of put that picture up of biofilm and talk about it just a little?
Absolutely. Please do. You're able to share your screen.
Okay, great. Okay. So if I can find it, that would be really good. I put it on the bottom of the screen. I'm not sure where it went here. Let's see if I can get it up. Here we go. There. So
We can't see
biofilm.
anything, Heather.
What's that?
We can't see it. Have you showed
Oh,
your
you
screen?
can't see it. Let's see if I can go back here.
If you go
Share.
to share screen at the
Share.
bottom, that's it.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah. it's
Okay.
coming up.
Cool. Okay. So biofilm, and if you watched the other interviews where I talk about biofilm, basically what happens is bacteria excretes sugar, for less of a scientific term.
Great.
And so they're constantly consuming food, okay? And they form this shelter that I call 1,000 sheets of plastic wrap. It's the best raincoat ever because nothing is penetrating that or getting through it. So if you look at the bottom of the screen here, you can see this stringy stuff right here. And that is biofilm. Now, you know it as the plaque in your teeth, but this is on all the fruits and vegetables. It's on your counters. It breaks off, floats in the air. It's in your mouth. It's on your skin. It causes 80% of all disease and infection. And there's that 80% number again, which makes sense. And so I mentioned last time, even the CDC says there's no sterilant or disinfectant that can get rid of this stuff. So it's one thing to, even if you were to get rid of it, you need to prevent it from returning, because we really don't want it if it's responsible for all this disease and infection and this contamination of our food. We really, really don't want it. So this stuff right here houses viruses, fungus, molds, and bacteria that become dangerous once they're in the biofilm, because they help us outside of it, but they hurt us when it's living in it. So it's important to know what biofilm is. It's important to understand that it cannot be eradicated easily. You really need to use nature, something that talks to bacteria. And that's really where the spore probiotics come in, because it's speaking the language of the pathogens that are there. And it's basically saying, hey, new sheriff in town, we're going to starve you to death and you need to leave. The nice part about that is, think about cleaning your fruits and vegetables with a natural bacteria. I mean, it's a good probiotic. And when it gets on your food, you're consuming good stuff and you're not consuming the bad stuff, because they're able to eradicate pathogens, fertilizers, everything that's on that fruit or that vegetable. And I will warn this as well. The triple washed lettuce, I would never eat that right out of the bag, because we know that they're washing it in the chlorine solution, and we're consuming that. So we need to be cleaning it the proper way, which is with the probiotics. And so that's really an important thing to think about. And obviously, we're talking about fruits and vegetables today, but it's important to clean your counters and your mouth and your skin and everything with the probiotics. And the kind that you find in yogurts and supplements, those are too fragile to get rid of this biofilm. They cannot do it. So you have to bring a warrior in, and the warrior is the spore probiotics that come from soil. Now that I don't want you to be concerned that they come from soil, because the way that they're harvested, there are only 2 places in the United States we would ever trust, but they are looked at under a microscope, everything. So they are very, very safe, I assure you. But I would like to put up the studies, a couple of studies that people can look at. And I think what we're probably going to do is just put them up separately. We'll put them on a landing page so people can access them easily if they want to know more about this. But the solution that we're talking about today, even though we scared people probably half to death of what's on their fruits and vegetables and the water that's used, is really to use a microbial natural cleaner, which is spore probiotics.
Well, you say that you don't want to scare people, but this is a great interview, because this isn't just about educating people of what's, how our fruits and veg are being contaminated. You actually have a solution here about the spore probiotics. Can you explain how you would wash fruit and vegetables? Is it like liquid form, or how would you do it if you could go into that?
Well, we've actually developed a way to just spray the cleaner onto the fruits and vegetables, and you just wet them and spray them and rinse them. In cases like tomatoes or apples, you can rinse them if you want to, but you don't have to. And this is the nice part, because this is food. It's food grade. First of all, it's pH neutral. It's safe to consume, as is everything that we have with spore probiotics. But Randy can attest to this. I mean, everything that we have is really safe, but it was important to me to develop something that I knew, if it stays behind on the food, that if you are consuming it, it's actually going to be beneficial and good for you.
Randy, would you like to make any additional
Yes,
comments?
I really think that is the kind of divine intervention we get. Heather, she is truly an angel, because she has got the knowledge and she's got the determination and the commitment to help people. She's not got a product that's full of chemicals. And I will tell you flat out that her spore probiotic products, I have used them. Now, I've used them for several years. And what is going on here is that the biofilm, years ago when I was a consultant in Washington, I had a client who had something, was an antimicrobial, but I knew a little about biofilm. And when I was looking, when my health was going bad, what could I do to clean my house with all the chemicals? And Heather's products work hands down. They are wonderful. And I'll be honest with you, I've used her spore probiotics and clean my vegetables, apples especially, things, and just I wipe them off. And I because I said all the stuff that's come from the grocery stores is not good. And it's coming and local. This is where it's very important, in my opinion, is for people to support their local farms, because the difference in the food is tremendous, not just in the taste, the quality, and you will feel it. Your body will tell you this is good stuff. And it's like Heather was saying earlier, you sometimes you eat something and you kind of like your stomach's like, ooh, what was that? Yeah, that happens a lot. That's why there's all antacids, there's all kinds of medications and chemicals and everything. But we got to start looking to get back to what it was that what did people do 100 years ago? Okay, we didn't have all these chemicals, and And I think that's a blessing for the most part that we didn't. Now, that's, people can just look at both sides of it. Yeah, there's stuff that's helpful, but there's a lot of stuff that's very toxic, and it's gotten into our water systems and everything. And Heather is on the right track because this stuff helps people, hands down, absolutely. I stake my name, reputation on it, and if it doesn't, good Lord, just strike me down.
I don't want that.
No,
Our and really what we're talking about is our immune systems and keeping our immune systems really strong. And we're having to fight a lot. I mentioned last time, we get bombarded with almost 250 pounds of environmental toxins annually. That's a lot to keep up with. And so that's why I keep talking about creating like your home biodome. And this includes like washing your clothes, and putting the spore probiotics in there and cleaning your counters and your mouth and your skin. And we didn't even talk about air and all the stuff that floats onto the fruits and vegetables when they're in the stores. I mean, that's a whole other subject of contamination. So we've talked about the fertilizers that are used when growing. We've talked about the handling of by workers that may not be washing their hands and create E. coli outbreaks or whatever. I mean, there have been so many E. coli E. coli outbreaks lately. I don't know if you paid any attention to it, but it seems like, and it's happening at the restaurants and it's happening, in the stores. And I for one believe that a big part of that is because they're not cleaned properly. They're not handled properly. They're not cleaned properly. And in many instances, not grown properly. So we have to take control over our, what I call our bacterial environment, but because bacteria really control us, but we have to take control
Absolutely.
of it.
Heather, when you speak about control, could you please explain, what are the benefits once we do take control and we are eating non-contaminated vegetables and fruits?
Well, gosh, so many benefits. Randy can attest to the fact that I will just say this, but I'd like Randy to speak on this as well. But what ends up happening is your body is not fighting your environment. Mm-hmm. So let's say you have an autoimmune disease, you have allergies or whatever. When you're applying the spore probiotics, it's actually helping to change your immune system. It's waking up your immune system. It's fortifying your immune system because every single place you go, every single thing that you come in contact with comes back into your home environment, every single thing. So we want to create an environment where whatever you bring in, these spore probiotics are going to immediately go to work to create bacterial balance where there is anything entering. And the best way for them to do that is to get rid of this right here and prevent it from coming back.
Randy, over to you.
One of the things that comes to mind is that this show is very important. And I was really, talking to Heather. I said, Heather, we really need to be on Nick's show and talk about this because people don't understand that it's convenience and a lack of education and strong marketing that has pushed the products and the things. People say, well, God, they're trying to kill us. No, that's not true. They are killing us. They're killing us. They're just killing us with the chemtrails, with the stuff they're adding in the water. And you're right, Nick, the fluoride. It's just unbelievable. The things they have been doing for years and years. And it's called the Great Awakening. And it's not just political. It is the Great Awakening is about your home, taking responsibility for yourself, doing something about it. When I go to fortunately, I'm now 6 months into remission for my cancer. And I'm I'm one of the most fortunate people on planet Earth. But I'll tell you, when I go there, I go to a cancer center in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and the place is packed. It is packed. And it is people that you and friends. Oh, I got cancer. I got throat cancer. I've got prostate cancer. I've got liver cancer. It's just unbelievable. And they keep adding and adding more doctors. Why do all these people have cancer? And it's not just the elderly, it is people, young people. And it breaks my heart. And so much of this is why I said Heather's an angel, is she's here on a mission on this earth to help people. And this is a good start. So we need to pay attention, educate ourselves, take action, powerful action. Don't sit around and say, well, we'll get it later because it's not that easy to do. It's inconvenient. I spent 4 days making a garden and I had a lot of fun. But my sister says, I don't think I'm going to eat anything unless I grow it myself. And that's the way our grandparents used to do and our ancestors. So there's something to be said about that. That's Heather has a solution. People, please pay attention. And Nick, your show is a great platform and a communication platform to be able to educate people, and they've got to be educated. They have to look at things differently. Open up your mind, look at things differently.
Absolutely. Well, I will definitely leave the link below so that the viewers can have a look. They can contact Heather and yourself, Randy, and ask questions if they would like to learn more. Randy and Heather, it's been an absolute honor to have both of you sharing this information on my platform. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish? Heather, you can go first.
Yes. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you for giving us the platform to talk about this, because I'm always looking for ways to help people with solutions. And I said this before, it takes a village. I mean, it really does. We all need each other and we need to be having these discussions. So thank you. The other thing I wanted to mention is the way to clean here your fruits and vegetables. It's a new avenue for us. It's a new solution for us that we are happy to be able to talk about and present here on your show, because it's a brand new product. But the other thing that I wanted to say is, if you really want to get educated on spore probiotics, watch the last interview that the three of us did, because I went through an in-depth presentation on the science and the studies that are available for you to understand biofilm more and the solutions that are available.
Well, thank you very much, Heather. Thank you so much. And Randy, over to you.
Well, I say people work hard to be healthy. It's hard work. We got so much thrown at us. And also to the viewers, innovation. We've got Heather's product is innovative. And so when you want good information, come to NVTV, Nicholas Veniamin Show, and you're going to find out good information. Right, Heather? I'd say so.
I hands down. Well, he's the best. Yeah. I love you, Nick. I really do.
Thank you. I love you too. And thank you so much. And God bless you both. And we'll speak very soon. Take care.
God bless you.
God bless you, Nick.